How do you scale to a business from an entrepreneur? We're going to talk about that in 15 seconds. You have questions, we have answers. Welcome to the Good Success Q&A. This is a brand new series that we're coming out with where you guys get to submit your questions to us about entrepreneurship, about investing, about business, or real estate in general. And we bring in professionals to answer those questions for you. So this is a new series, like I said. If you guys are interested in submitting questions, we're up to the task, and we're going to be coming out with one of these videos a week. You can submit those by tweeting at us, by commenting on any of our Facebook posts, or leaving us a message. And then also email marketing@goodsuccess.com. Again, that's marketing@goodsuccess.com. You can submit any questions like I just mentioned, and we'll bring on professionals to answer those questions for you. So today, we got Gary Harper with us, the Vice President of Good Success, and he's going to answer a very, very specific and direct question, but could be answered in thousands of different ways, in my opinion.
Sure.
But Gary's going to give his answer to this, and he gets this question quite a bit. We actually we're at Think Realty in what was that, Baltimore, right? In Baltimore a couple months ago, and we got on the main stage, and then we had a breakout session, and we offered a free 30-minute consultation, and Gary took all those calls, which was a lot of calls, I'm sure. Yeah, exactly. Gary took all those calls, and this is one of the biggest questions he got. So the question we got was from Peta, and Peta's actually signed up for our Belief event in September, and she's going to be coming to that. If you guys need more information about that, go to goodsuccess.com. That's where we bring people into our office building and show them how we do what we do, how we scaled our business to do the volume that we're doing now. But Peta asked a question, and I am working in the corporate world still, and I'm wondering how to become an entrepreneur and scale to a business. So that's a little bit of a tricky question too, because we actually talked about this before we even started the episode, that there's a lot of self-proclaimed entrepreneurs out there. And if you're watching this and you're self-proclaimed, and you know, it's really not a plain, simple, clear-cut statement. It's really not. So for all we know, she could be a entrepreneur already, but she just wants to scale to a business. Right. So I'm sure you understand the question a little better because you actually talked to her. So I mean, what do you have for us? How do you answer this type of question?
So Josh, you know, we hear the question a lot, and it's just people that are wanting to get out of the rat race. They're wanting to get into doing their own, making their own money for themselves. I was challenged with this and had the opportunity to do it early in my life. And in my early 20s, I got the opportunity to become an entrepreneur. But that doesn't mean just because I was an entrepreneur, it doesn't mean that I had to quit corporate America. And I think that's the biggest thing, is there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that are still working full-time jobs. And that's where the frustration sets in, and that's really where I think I want to try to help you today, is like, how do I stop just being an entrepreneur? Essentially, all we do when we become an entrepreneur is we create another job.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. I mean, if we're really...
Well, I think that's where it starts, too.
Yeah, like, if we're being open and honest, right? We just got sick of working for somebody else, so we started working for ourselves. And I know some people that are actually go from working 40 hours a week job to working 90 hours a week jobs. And they've just changed their title from whatever to entrepreneur. And I know when I started my businesses and became an entrepreneur, I was not uncommon. I mean, I was very much every day working extra hours in addition to my corporate America job. And boy, it was hard.
Oh yeah,
it's rough. It's extremely challenging to grow a business to a business, and then to leave corporate America.
Well, that's why it's such a title too, because it takes a lot of work. I mean, that's what being an entrepreneur means, and it's not easy. Yeah. You have to put in those long hours that you just mentioned. I mean, so it's a commitment, and you know, if you're out there today and you're that entrepreneur or employee, you still got the employee title and you got the entrepreneur title. I'll tell you, just keep being persistent. Just keep it on. Hopefully today we can give you some nuggets to make that jump. Know that there's risk whenever you change from quadrant to quadrant. And one of the best books I've ever read was Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yeah.
And I know so many people out there are like, yeah, I read that too. But you know what? It's a mindset book. I know so many people in the business today that got into entrepreneurship, especially in real estate, because they read that book. And it changed the mindset. It's like, all right, if I'm going to do this in life, I've got to think differently. I've got to have my money in different assets, and I've got to do things differently. And he talked about the 4 quadrants of life. The employee, the entrepreneur, which is where a lot of people may be listening on this call today, where Peta is today. And then the business owner. And then the investor. And ultimately, we always want to get to that investor stage, financial freedom. Mm-hmm. One of our colleagues here, Tom Olson, if you watch one of his videos on YouTube, if you go to our YouTube channel, he'll talk about how he became financially free at age 40. Mm-hmm. And what an awesome thing that is. I'm excited for him and excited for anybody that's achieved that status. So how do we do it? How do we go from employee to entrepreneur? Well, or self-employed, creating that job. Well, it's identifying a niche. It's identifying the niche and then having a passion for that niche and then start to put the work in. And basically you create a job for yourself. That's how you become an entrepreneur. It's pretty simple, right? Mm-hmm. Why so many people do it is because it's actually pretty simple. Where the biggest hurdle comes is people just can't find that niche. Yeah. They can't find where they have a passion. And so that holds them back. But once that's discovered and you're able to identify that niche, that purpose, cause, passion that you want to go after, you just have to make it happen. Mm-hmm. It's just putting the work in.
So I got a question for you outside of this. So you're talking about a niche, and we often find a lot of people that think they found a niche, and they're like, okay, this is making me good money, and they get into it, and they're just not, the energy is not there. Maybe a year into it, the passion's not there anymore. The money's not a big deal anymore because they're missing out on, half their life, not spending it with family or friends, or they just don't have time for anything, period. For instance, you do business systems and processes, and that's your title being entrepreneur. That's how you earned it. And, recently, but you have a passion for that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so you love doing it. And so that just means that it's just going to keep fueling you. And, when the hard times come, that's going to keep going. Right. So, what would you say to somebody that's like, I don't know, maybe Peta's they get into real estate, and she builds a business, and it's, a year old, and she's like, man, I just don't enjoy doing this anymore. Sure. And maybe she's not making good money on it. Maybe it's, kind of mediocre at best. Mm-hmm. And, she could have made the same amount at her hourly job before she came onto this. What would you say to somebody like that? That's where I feel like a lot of people stumble going from the entrepreneur to scaling the business. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're actually into a business, but now they got to scale it, and they can't do it because they don't have the purpose, cause, and passion behind it.
Just stop.
Stop, right?
Right. Why waste your life?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'd rather you out there work a job, put in an honest day's worth of hard work, and do that than to waste your life being in an area that you're not happy. When I help entrepreneurs, and we have the opportunity to travel and help different people, and when I help them, we identify a couple things. We identify their core values in the company, but we also identify their purpose, their cause, their passion. And that really has nothing to do with the niche. Right? The niche is the vehicle to get you to where you want to be in life. Maybe that purpose, cause, passion, we call it our why, is just freedom from the corporate America. But here's the thing, if you don't truly have a purpose, a cause, passion, a why, you will get to a point that it gets too tough. Yeah. And you'll quit. And that's what happens, you just quit.
Yeah, and I ask that because I've been in the same boat. I've done things where I'm like, man, this is going to make me good money, or this is going to, do a lot for me. And then I get into it like a year or two, and I'm like, man, I just don't enjoy doing this. Yeah. I'm making okay money, but it's just not enjoyable. And then I find something that I am very happy doing, and I love doing it. It's not a job to me, and it fuels me. I'm like, yeah, let's do this.
So here's the thing. I think everybody, when they're working in a career, they have to get themselves to a point where they are operating in what I call their core genius. Mm-hmm. That allows them to enjoy what they're doing because they're great at it, right? And I had somebody ask me this question, how do I know I'm great at it? Well, it's very easy. If you're good at it, you're going to tell everybody. If you're great at it, they'll tell you. You don't have to tell everybody. Mm-hmm. And when you're great at something, it just shows. And people see it, and they say, wow, that's where and you'll get good feedback.
Yeah.
And so when you're in the area of life that you're great at something, right? And that area of life you're great at also feeds and gets you on that path to that why of life and your purpose, your cause, your passion, then that's where the magic happens. So when you have your purpose, your cause, your passion, and that's out there and you're shooting for it, but then, Josh, you find that niche that is your core genius and you're great at it and people are telling you that they receive good value from you because you're so good at it, that is where your core genius is. And when you combine those two, boy, that's a great place to be, right?
Absolutely.
Now, I have met people that have a purpose, cause, or passion, and an employment somewhere will help them reach that purpose, cause, and passion. And that's okay, and that's where they want to be, and they want to be a part of the vision of that company. And that's what makes great employees, is when we have employees that have the purpose, cause, and passion that matches up with the purpose, cause, and passion of the company, and they are in their core genius in that company and doing what that they're supposed to do, and they're bringing tremendous value. Now, Josh is an entrepreneur, right? Josh owns his own media company and does a lot of brand management and things like that. But Josh is also an employee of Good Success. And Josh, you probably could answer that question more than anybody.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? So why do you stay here? Why are you still an employee of Good Success?
Well, it's exactly what you just said. I mean, I was shoved into my core genius and doing the content creation, the platform of the social media, and then all the design, the videography, and all that. It's what I love doing, and I was kind of pushed into that because that was my core genius, and you're a big part of that. So I think it's important to have somebody that sees your potential, because then there's also times where somebody's good at something and we don't even know it.
Sure.
But I feel like you have to, so you're good at it, right?
Great
and you
at
got to tell. Well, I'm saying if somebody doesn't know and you're good at it, you got to tell people, and that's what you said.
Right.
If you're good at it, you'll tell people, and then I think that will turn into you being great at it, because then as you're getting good at it, people will start pushing you into what you should be doing and what you have potential into, and then once you've reached that point, then people are telling you you're good at it.
Yeah. So let me just tell you guys something here real quick. Josh is good at so many things. He really is. But where he's great is where everybody keeps going back to him and going, Josh, man, you're really good at that. Man, you're great at that. And guys, if somebody is watching you or you're working with somebody and you're hearing feedback that you're really good at something, it's probably because you're an 8 to 10 in that area, right? And so that is where you want to try to focus your niche in, right? So now you got your niche. You've got your purpose, your cause, your passion. Now you need the right mindset. The right mindset being that once we take that leap over and we go from employee to entrepreneur, you have to realize that you have to have the right mindset. You have to start taking ownership for things, right?
So we found our niche.
Right.
We know that we want to go forward with this.
Right.
Now we're changing the mindset.
Yeah, you got to change your mindset. You got to change from an employee mindset to an owner mindset, right? You have to, even with just as simple as your taxes.
Yeah.
Right. You've been taken care of, and the employers take out your taxes and make sure they pay them, and take care of you a little bit, right? So you don't end up at the end of the year. And there's that jump. There's that jump of I got to pay my own taxes, and I got to save 30%, and I can't spend it all as soon as it comes in, and so you have to have the mindset change. But you also have to have the mindset change of like leadership. You're in charge now. It's your company. You have to take ownership for what goes right and what goes wrong. So there's a mindset shift that has to happen. There's a lot of great books that could help you with that. 21 Invaluable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell, 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, right? There's Extreme Ownership. That's a great book. Another one is The One Thing. That's a great book. But there's a lot of books out there, and I highly recommend, before you take that leap in entrepreneurship or even business, that you start to change the mindset, change your mindset. So we got to change that. And then the next step is working on your own personal growth. My brother-in-law, Wayne Schaefer, who's the visionary and owner of Good Success, will say many times that he loves the analogy that when you're on a plane and the plane starts to have problems, what's the first thing that happens? The mast drop, right? So if the cabin pressure changes, the mast drops. And what is the airline stewardess instructed to do? They're instructed to tell you to put your mask on first, right? Even if you're traveling with a younger one, your son, your daughter, they're sitting there, they tell you to put your mask on first. The reason for that is because if you're not healthy, then you can't help anybody else. And so your business is the same way. If you're not healthy, if you're not growing, if you don't have the right vision, then how do you expect to lead other people, right? So we have to work on ourselves personally. So it starts with the mindset, but then it starts with our personal growth. We have to make sure we have the right purpose.
Now, this is such a different angle than a lot of gurus will tell you. Because a lot of gurus will, you get these infographics like, hey, here's the map to building a business. This is where it starts. Like, this is point A, I feel like.
This is 101. This isn't like level 10. This is level 1.
Yeah, exactly.
And so many people skip this step.
Exactly.
And it frustrates me, Josh, because I go out and try to help companies, and it's the basics, the fundamentals, that they don't focus on. And they get really good at business from selling a product and getting customers, but they forget like what it takes to actually be a good business owner. And so if you're going to make that jump from entrepreneur to business owner, you have to be healthy yourself, right? And I'm not just talking about physical health, but mental health. You have to know where you're going, and you have to earn the right to lead. And the only way you're going to do that is by knowing what your vision is, and then taking responsibility. Those books I was telling you. And then knowing where you're going is only half the battle at first. It's also knowing what your purpose is and getting to that purpose. Now, as a leader, you have to come above the maze. You can't live down in the weeds of the day-to-day. So now that we've taken that jump from entrepreneur to business owner, we have to come above the maze, what I call it. If you think about a maze and what that is, you're walking through a maze and things are moving around, or you're getting lost and you don't know where you're going, and you turn left and it's at that end, and turn right, it's at that end. Well, the cool thing about a maze is they always have somebody in a tower that tells you and directs you, right? And so I've been in a maze before, and people freaking out, and they're like panic stricken, and I've been in here for too long, and so they look up and turn left, turn right, turn left, turn right, and you're out. Well, that's you. You're that person in the tower. You're the leader. And you have to know where you're going, because if you don't know where you're going in the business, then you can't lead anybody else out of the business, through the business. So it's important to know your purpose and your vision of where you're going. I like to help companies with their 10-year goal. Good to great. Jim Collins says your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal. I like to help people with that. It's a pie in the sky, like where we're going. Ours is to give $2.6 million in a year to the Lord's work and other needs, right? So that's ours. Then I like to bring it down to 5-year, what it looks like in 3 to 5 years, and then even that 1-year picture, that 1-year plan, and understanding what the goals are. Because once you do that as a leader and you've identified that, now you can start to cascade that message down to your employees and help them see your vision. So that's important. The next thing is business growth, okay? And when we get into business growth, we have to make sure that we are setting the right goals in that 1 year, the right quarterly goals and rocks to get us to our 3-year plan, our 5-year picture, our 10-year target, whatever those are, and keep pushing the company towards that. Then we need to make sure we have the right structure in our organization to be able to accomplish it. And if you're an entrepreneur today, you may not have any employees yet. So you have to be able to identify what are the needs of this business. What seats do I need in this business? When I say seats, like, do I need a sales and marketing manager? Do I need an operations person? Do I need a finance? And if you're running a business, you need all 3 of those. They're the critical components of the business. But then you might, depending on your niche, you might need different seats. And in real estate, you might be a property management company, and you might need a property manager seat that's high level in your business. You might need a customer service person. You might need HR. You might need IT. I'm just going on and on, but you have to identify what those key seats are in your business, and then you have to start planning to hire. Because if you're an entrepreneur, guess who's sitting in those seats? You are. You're sitting in them all. And
you're a solopreneur.
Yeah, you're a solopreneur.
At that point.
So we have to figure out first, what does it look like? What does my company look like? And then what are those seats? And then the next thing, in order to get us out of those seats, is we got to document our processes. And I like to use a system called process mapping, where we take the processes, we get them out of our head, and we get them on the paper. And then we now know what seats we have in the company, and we know what responsibilities are of those seats. And now I can start to do a thing called delegate and elevate. So Josh said earlier, you like to be in your core genius. delegate and elevate, and this is a whole different episode. I think we have a quick tip video on. I don't want to go into that.
We definitely need to talk about that in a future episode, but yeah.
Yeah, so you delegate and elevate yourself out of those seats, and you hire the right people for those seats. And, by documenting your processes and getting them out of your head, you're able to replicate yourself. You're able to, bring people in that is their core genius, right? You want to bring people in that are great at it. Guys, I'm okay at marketing. I'm okay at media. I'm okay at all those things that Josh does. Here's the thing. I'm okay at it. Maybe a 5, maybe a 6. But I'm not an 8, 9, or 10. And I don't really want to spend my time in that seat. So as Good Success grew, Josh came on board, right? And the reason why he's here is because that is your core genius. That is where you do well. And that's what I want to do when scaling a business. I want to start it off with my vision. I want to start off with the health of my company, being that I got the right mindset. I want to understand what my growth is as a company, where I want to go, my vision, what my purpose is, what my passion is. Then the next thing is I want to understand, what does it look like? Like, what does my company structure look like? What are the key ingredients and the key seats in my business? Then I want to get those processes out of my head to run those seats. I don't want to get them on paper. Because then that allows me to hire the right people to sit in those right seats in my organization. And then synergy starts to happen, and everybody's pulling the same direction because you got the right vision, and you're starting to grow. And that's how you properly scale your business. That's how you do it properly. Now, there's steps right after that you have to go through, but those are the main steps to get to business owner.
Yeah, that's point A to point B.
Yeah.
And then you got B through Z,
yeah.
the rest of the way.
So many more. But that's a foundation of it. And without that foundation, it's going to be faulty anyway. You've got to have a solid foundation.
Absolutely. Awesome stuff. You guys have questions, and we have answers. Gary just answered that question. Fantastic stuff. So, Peta, I hope that helps you out a lot, and I'm sure it did because you already talked to her about this, I believe. And so,
coming to our belief in that.
Yeah, and this is a great question for everybody out there, though, especially those of you who are even thinking about starting any kind of business, whether it be real estate or a bakery shop or a photography business. This is great for you. So make sure you take some awesome notes. Gary, thank you for being on the show today, and we'll definitely have you back for any more questions. I'm sure you got tons of questions queued up for you.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
But anyway, guys, submit your questions. We are taking these questions from everybody. You can tweet them to us on Twitter. You can comment or message us on Facebook, your questions, and then also email us at marketing@goodsuccess.com. We'll have all those links below so you guys can go straight to that. Submit your questions. Submit as many as you want. We'll bring on a professional to answer your question for you. So that's going to do it for today's episode, guys. Make sure you give us a big thumbs up. This is going to be on Facebook and YouTube, so either like our page on Facebook if you're watching this video that way, or if you're not already, make sure you are subscribed to us on YouTube. And if you're not subscribed on YouTube, make sure you go check that out because we put out tons of videos on there. We have our vlog and then our quick tip videos. So I think this went great.
Yeah,
I love this.
It's good setting.
Yeah,
fun.
Absolutely.
All right, just need to break out the coffee.
Yeah, well, we're gonna do that. So we're actually gonna be starting a Saturday morning live show very soon, and maybe in another month or two. I gotta work out plans for that, but every Saturday we're gonna do a live video, and it's pretty much gonna just be, let's have some coffee and talk about a specific topic, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm super excited about that. So a lot of video content that we're pumping out to you guys. This is our way of reaching out to you as our community, so make sure you reach back out to us so that we can help you out. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you on the next episode.